Sometimes it's like, oh, interesting.
What's that?
That's interesting. I don't know, but it might be something to do with this. I added past presentations.
Ah,
So
Oh.
now we go to the website.
oh, very good.
This also fits very nicely into this current presentation because I wrote this in jQuery just to
Oh.
get some jQuery experience. So I've never written jQuery before. But here's 2021. YouTube only lets you upload 10 videos a day, so that's as much as I got here.
Okay, I've
But-
got some more on this computer also that need to be uploaded.
But here is all of 2021, and yeah, when I get more, I'll
Okay,
update those. Anyway,
the rise of the internet.
quick recap from last week. We did the rise of the internet, which was the beginning with Tim Berners-Lee, who made the World Wide Web system program to access HTML pages, and then CSS, and I'm forgetting his name, so I'm just gonna go back to it. Haken Wine Lee, who's a white guy. Shocking. And Bert Boss, and then
Yeah.
and then Mocha Script, aka JavaScript, everyone's favorite programming language by Brendan Ike. That's where we left off. We left off at the DOM. I talked about it very briefly last week. That's where I'm gonna start this week. This is like key to understand the internet. This basically sums up JavaScript in a nutshell, I think. This picture, the guy who said aliens, now
Yeah.
kind of takes on a different meaning for the last 2 weeks, but when I started making this, it was much more, it was a different message than what I'm sending now, but
What happened?
I don't know, some stuff with aliens and some guy testified in
that guy.
Congress. This is the aliens guy from the History Channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so basically, the fall of the internet, all because of JavaScript. Everything that's basically happened from 1998 till now is the story of trying to make JavaScript a real programming language. And the way that started with the web was the DOM. So in 1998, 1997, 1998, well, actually, even before then, there was the DOM level 0, which is what Netscape invented, which was a way to access the DOM with very basic stuff. Like you could do on-click handlers, you could do alerts, you could do stuff like that. But it was all just Netscape's version. And then Microsoft had their own version for Internet Explorer. But then they realized that this needed to get standardized. It was like crazy. Every web browser couldn't have different commands to run stuff and show up on the web page and do things. So this came, to combat the eventual devolution into chaos. The World Wide Web Consortium was developed, W3C, which you probably see all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like the standards body for the web. And they created what's called DOM level 1, which has, and then after that, the final recommendation by W3C was in 2004. They moved it to a different group called the Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group. Easy to remember.
What?
WG. And they come up with this. This is like the standard we still use today for the DOM. There's events, there's abort controllers, there's nodes, there's ranges, traversal, sets, paths, and I don't know what this is really, and I didn't look into it that much. So DOM level 4 is what we're at right now, and it's this. This is like, so yeah. So now you're probably thinking, okay, so seriously though, what the hell is the DOM? So the DOM is the way that you interact with web pages. The way a web browser works is it takes your HTML and then it paints the page. And when it paints the page, it paints the HTML, it paints the CSS, and then it stores those nodes, which are like, let me actually pull this up, make it obvious. If I can do this. Actually, let me just do this. Okay, so basically, as far as it works in Chrome, I'm not sure how it works in Firefox, but the browsers are written in C++ in Chrome. And what happens is they store these nodes as objects in C++ memory. And then to access those objects, you use JavaScript. So the way I heard it described, which I really like, is JavaScript is really a control panel for the web. It's like the APIs that reach into memory and manipulate things, and then it gets painted. So if I type document dot, oh, it's actually a little better in Chrome because it'll actually highlight the whole page. But I talked about this a little last week, but document is like the whole page. So you can like document dot get elements by class name, for example. This is not a real JavaScript function. This isn't even, this is like a way, this is what browsers have exposed to this like DOM standard to let you access the elements on the page. And if I can randomly come up with one of my class names, that'd be cool. Let me think. Code. Nice. So that grabs the elements off my page that have the class code. And these are JavaScript representations of objects stored in memory of the browser. And if that's confusing, it is confusing. I am confused. I was confused. I still am confused, but I generally understand.
Like a baby Lucen.
It's like what?
It's like a baby Lucen.
A baby what?
Lucen, the foundation of what is it? I use it all day. Open search / Elastic. It's a NoSQL system for basically pre-running searches on text, big chunks of it, so that you can do things like, okay, I got these mesa logs coming in every second. I need only the ones that mention the word coffee and bacon.
Oh,
Like, oh, and it like it's already broken down. So that
yeah,
it's neat.
yeah. So that's just one of the functions. There's like a whole bunch of stuff you can do with the DOM. It's all DOM manipulation, really. So this is a way to access objects and manipulate the DOM.
So you're
On the
saying
fly.
it's DOM submission.
You could say that. I would not.
That's why they don't make
So anyway, the general idea is it's a tree. So the DOM's built when the web page gets loaded, and it turns all of your nodes as they descend into a tree of nodes, starting with the document as the root node and going out from there. And you can always do this in your if I can find sources. I'm used to Chrome. This is my excuse. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Well, I'm actually looking for the file.
Oh,
Right click on the page, view source. View page source.
Thank
You
you.
have another way to get to it too. That's fastest.
I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I kind of like it here. I'm surprised I can't figure out where it is.
Yeah.
Is this Firefox? Firefox is whatever.
Spectre might be under storage.
I'm surprised I can't
Oh,
find
that's actually storage.
that. Anyway. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I know the developer edition has it, so I'm wondering if I just need to download the developer edition. But actually, let's see if I have it. Don't. Bad web dev. Anyway, this is how it starts. It starts as the HTML element, and then it descends from there, body, main. So this is getting built as a tree of DOM nodes in the background. Okay, so you guys have questions on that? Because that's pretty confusing. And yeah,
If you had an internet browser and you went to clear your browser, I don't think all that information is clear.
clear your browser. You mean like your cookies and
You
your
go down to tools and then it says, clear browser data and you clear it.
Yeah, like wiping out the.
But I don't think,
tools?
I don't
I
think.
think
that
she's
it's
talking in general.
clear.
not
The
this
hamburger menu up there.
Oh, up here.
Oh,
No.
Oh, there.
on that.
Up-
Yeah, so you
Over
start
here?
by doing the.
You mean clear history or clear?
I
Well,
think
you
you
could
can
do
go to
clear
settings.
history. Mine's clear your browser.
So you're talking about clearing browser history?
Yeah.
That's
Um,
just clear history that.
That's just history.
you can also clear cache, you can clear a bunch of
I
stuff.
think if you click queries or.
You
Yeah,
can-
it gives you the
options.
you clear cookies, cache, forms, all that kind of stuff. It actually does get cleared.
Well, it still
Um,
actually leaves some site settings in offline because there's like a database exposed. And then like a large storage blob
Ah,
that they
Okay,
added APIs for. So I think that's what the site settings and offline website data is for.
interesting. Cool.
Hmm.
But yeah, your web browser, like when you're surfing around, checking out websites, it's storing stuff in cookies usually. This, you can literally go look what websites have decided to put stuff in here. And it tracks what websites you go to and what stuff you're viewing and stuff like that.
How does the DOM get, like, what is the part of the engine that's building out this DOM?
It's the Blink engine in Chrome.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in Firefox.
huh?
Chakra.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense with the set.
They have their own, they have their,
That's-
each web browser has its own implementation, but like 90% of web browsers now are Chromium, so they're using Blink. But yeah. So basically, the whole point of this is you're using JavaScript to access objects in memory that are in the DOM, in like C++ storage. That was really interesting for me to find out, because I always thought I was directly accessing like JavaScript objects, but really the objects are just like a representation of what the memory actually looks like. So that's pretty interesting.
Well, the browser is not supposed to have direct access to the machine's memory and resources. That's what JavaScript is, basically the intermediary then
Hmm.
between the system memory and the actual web page browser.
Yeah, cool.
Well, in a nutshell, JavaScript actually holds HTML.
In a
No,
way, it controls the objects in C++ memory, and then those objects get painted to the web page as new HTML.
So you can bring in objects.
Oh, it's Gecko.
No, Gecko's
Gecko's the old one, right?
That's the engine.
So you can bring macros in, sorry, we own that mainframe where we call them macros, but they're really objects. From JavaScript into your web page.
I should have made a diagram. Yeah, you can bring JavaScript. You can just use JavaScript normally. I'll get to that in a bit, but JavaScript, you can just run JavaScript as you normally would. But if you actually want to access what's on the web page, you're going through the web's API. Like the web is exposing something that lets you mess with the memory in the web browser. That's
You can't completely build a web page using JavaScript, building DOM objects.
yes, but those DOM objects are built into memory. So like if you do like document.createElement div, you're actually putting an object in the C++ memory, because that function is actually just like hooking into the web browser.
Right.
Yeah.
The reverse of an interpreter.
yeah, it's more of a gateway.
It's like an API. I
Yeah.
think it's-
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's the DOM, and I was very confused about that for a long time, so
So
now I kind of get it, I think. But anyway, let's see the code. I wrote some code to, I showed you guys this before, but light and dark mode, very proud of this. Gosh, not having Chrome is making me sad. I could install it, but it's gonna take a while to install, I think. So I'll just go to the actual code. It's in index, and I named it quite nicely, I think. Yes, toggling light and dark mode. Okay, so basically, this is kind of what I did before in the console, but I'm getting elements off the page here. So I've got a that I've got this thing called toggle. I've got this element called theme toggle. So this thing is theme toggle, and I grab it. And then if it's the sun, I do some checks. And I'm actually setting the theme in local storage.
Oh.
And I'm setting the data theme. Which is, if you set the data theme, you can control with CSS. So basically, yeah, not to get too into the weeds on how this all works, but basically, you're selecting this with the DOM selector, get element by ID, and then you're setting stuff into local storage and you're also setting the theme of the page. So on this page, this HTML should have style. Where's Chrome when I need it? I don't know. It should say data theme on the HTML. It doesn't, but it's working. Control F. Or I don't know.
It's probably in the live. You want to actually just use the live representation rather than the source.
This is the one on the. Oh no, this is the one on the internet. Yeah, this is live.
Well, no, the view source is live. That's the file as it's,
Oh
but the data stuff may not be represented until it's
Yeah.
actually in the live view. So you
Yeah.
want to use the other viewer.
yeah, but the other viewer I can't find my friggin' file. That's my problem. But where's my file?
Which file are you looking for?
The JS.
Oh, do network and then hit reload.
Oh, well, yeah. But I want like all the, you can like actually see the file in the console.
Hmm.
Like you can see all your code.
Yeah, that's the first time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, this is the code.
No, wait, this is different. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's under
give
inspector.
me 1 second. I might download, I'm gonna try and download Chrome with the background. And if it's too slow,
Probably want Chromium, because you probably can't get actual Chromium.
I can get Chrome.
Should be able to.
All right, this is gonna take the rest of the presentation downloads, so I'll get back to it later. But anyway, the moral of the story is you are selecting elements off the page using DOM selectors. And you're changing elements on those elements, and that actually is what changes the page.
So your page, when you write the page, then you're writing it and you're looking at a flag to see what profile you
Exactly.
want that to be.
Exactly. So when you're writing this page, it's checking what the current theme color is.
Mhm.
And if it's dark, it makes it dark. And this is the target theme. So if the target theme's light, it changes it to dark. And if it's dark, it
Mhm.
changes it to the target theme, which is light.
Okay,
Pretty basic. But it's just kind of a cool example to show how like selecting off the page works. And setting up dark mode's not actually as hard as I thought it would be. It's pretty easy. This is like the very simple code that I use for the main page. Where you click the little penguin
oh, yeah.
and then it just changes light to dark. That's it.
Oh,
So
okay.
current theme's light, change to dark. That's it.
Hey,
If not, light.
we keep that picture up there, maybe Stallman will come in and give us a presentation.
That'd be great. Yeah, I would love to see him talk live.
Oh, he is a character.
All right, so this is cool too. This is not true anymore because of the Firefox. But if you click on the sources tab, you see the file. And
But your web page is totally made in JavaScript.
it is all HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. It's just plain, it's plain as it gets, which I think is great for a website just like something like this. Like if all you're doing is displaying information, I think like HTML, JavaScript, CSS, all you need. If you're doing something, if you're doing fancy stuff, that's when you transition perfectly into jQuery. So in 2006, basically for 8 years, people were struggling to build web pages because it was really annoying. It was like you'd have to support different browsers, you'd have to all these DOM, all these accessor functions on the DOM were different between web browsers. They had different functions. Some you could click, some you couldn't, some you could alert, some you couldn't. Blah blah blah. It was like really annoying for developers to figure out what you could and couldn't do. you had to rewrite the same thing over and over again, just for like to work on different browsers.
And that explains why some of the pages I use. I'm using like Opera.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Mhm.
go to
Yeah.
my mutual fund site, and we don't like this, you gotta use this, yeah, okay. That's
There's
why,
a
right?
lot of web pages that were very specific and they tell you what browser to use if you want to get the full experience, it's and it was a nightmare back then, because I remember, you'd write a web page. It would only work on the browser you wrote it for.
Yeah,
And then you had to do a query to see what browser they're using and then make, change your website effectively to match that browser, because there were so many differences you couldn't get around until you did.
like gagging on a man.
Well, that's why the standards came out.
Now, a lot of companies are now, taking Java off. the
Yeah.
site. How does that affect JavaScript?
That's different. Java and JavaScript are as different as apples and oranges.
It's different as car.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Yes.
The only thing that Java and JavaScript have in common is the word Java.
Oh,
That's-
yeah, and I think they wanted to like shoehorn Java objects and stuff into it, but it didn't.
Yeah,
They're completely different.
yeah.
JavaScript's like totally prototypal inheritance, which is a different form of programming than Java. JavaScript's total prototype inheritance. Java is just object oriented.
Mhm.
JavaScript's done some funky things in the last few years to make it seem like it's a class based programming language, but it's not. And that makes me kind of annoyed personally. But
That's
Uh,
what Ajax stands
asynchronous JavaScript.
for.
I always understood that the scripting language supported Java.
No, it's totally separate. JavaScript was basically just to access stuff on the web. But I'll get into it right after this. That changes in 2009 very aggressively. But anyway, so jQuery was basically built to do cross-platform support. It also exposed what is the jQuery object, and that has a ton of functions and a ton of functionality that's actually built in now by default, but didn't used to be. Like there's array iterators, there's like ternaries. I'm not sure if that was in the language or not, but it has a bunch of like nice features to it that were added from jQuery that now exist in the language by default. So for me, it was kind of hard to pick apart what was cool about jQuery. But it's like I watched some YouTube videos, like you don't really know what's cool about a library until you feel it. And I never really felt what was cool about jQuery, but I can understand why it was really, really interesting. It baked in simple animations like that thing I did here. This was like so easy. I mean, it was cool. All you have to do is you select this 2021 object or DOM node, and then when you click on it, it toggles the inner container. And if you set this toggle function to a time, it gives you this slick animation. I didn't do anything to do that. This is literally all I did. So that was kind of cool. That was like a cool thing in jQuery I found out right away. And also, instead of everything being displayed right away, it just instantly hides it when the page loads. So all that actually shows up is 2021. So like when the page loads, you see this because it hides the container, and then this toggles up. And then I made it just a little loop to toggle the months. So for our JavaScript enjoyers, you do a little string interpolation here, and you grab like the months off the array. And I had IDs matching all the names of the months. So then you can just, this is another jQuery function toggle. I just did it again, slightly faster this time. And this is all for free. I didn't do any styling or anything. I just toggle 300 milliseconds. And it just looks nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, quick sidebar, YouTube shut down my account 2 days after I did this, and then I re-verified, and for some reason all my stuff came back. So hopefully they don't do it again. But if all the links are dead one day, it's because YouTube for no reason decided to shut down the account. Anyway. Yeah. So that's jQuery. I didn't really feel in my soul why jQuery was awesome, but this was pretty cool. And I think if I really had to work with like multiple browsers and stuff, I would understand why everyone started using jQuery. Like jQuery just from 2006 to 2009 just like dominated the web. Like everyone used it. It was like 80% of websites were using jQuery. Something like that. Okay. So now is where we actually come into the downfall of programming as we know it. With Node.js and the V8 engine. So the boys in the lab at Google, it was like, I call them the Danes, because I think it was like a group of Danish guys at Google made the V8 engine. And the V8 engine really made JavaScript a performant language, something it should never have been. But I don't know what they did. They did some crazy stuff. You can look it up. The way they compile it's different. The way it like JavaScript like learns as it runs now. It's like if it figures out it's going through a loop, it'll like somehow make that more performant. I don't understand how it works, but the V8 engine made JavaScript like magnitudes more performant, and now it runs with it's pretty fast. It's a pretty fast single-threaded language, and that's all because of the V8 engine and all the improvements Google's been doing. And then for the death knell, a year later, Ryan Dahl made Node.js, which lets you. He took it out of the web browser and lets you do this. Now you can run JavaScript anywhere you want. You can just run it here. You can run it in your terminal, you can run it on the back end, you can run it on framework, blah, blah, blah. You can run it everywhere. That's what Node.js did. And on top of Node.js, like a few months later, they came up with the package manager, NPM, which is how you download and install JavaScript files. So this triplet, V8, Node, and NPM, is why JavaScript is now the most used programming language. I'm convinced it's these three things. It's because they made it fast, they made it run everywhere, and they let you download packages like anytime you want it. Now NPM and Node come together. So when you download Node, you get NPM. Before they were separate. But so yeah, these two combined innovations allowed for the JavaScript everywhere paradigm to become a reality. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like we've got JavaScript on the back end, we've got JavaScript on the front end, we've got JavaScript for apps, terminal apps, electrons, like every application's made an electron now. Like
MongoDB, you can write JavaScript at it.
yeah, you can write JavaScript for databases, you can write JavaScript for literally everything now.
Wow.
It's like everywhere. So that all happened in like 2009, 2010. And then Microsoft came out with TypeScript in 2012. And TypeScript is awesome. I feel like this bird after I learned TypeScript. At first I hated it. I was like, gosh, this is annoying. I do not want to have to type my JavaScript. But if you ever use JavaScript on a big application, TypeScript is so nice. It's really, really nice. I didn't really make any like example, but basically normal JavaScript you can write in TypeScript and it'll be fine with it. And it'll get mad at you if it can't interpret yeah. So see right now it's getting mad. This is TypeScript. Parameter string implicitly has an any type, but better type could be inferred from usage. But it knows that it takes a parameter called string with an any type and returns an any type. So if I type it, let's just call a string a Boolean because I'm a terrible programmer and I want to annoy people. Now it's saying you're passing this variable Boolean and you're returning a Boolean. I mean, that's like a very, very basic thing of TypeScript, but now, oops.
I'm wondering if you could think about word one.
Yeah, we'll get mad at you. And this is amazing, like, because now with LSPs and stuff, checking your code, like now when you write files in a folder somewhere far away and you need to access that object in a different folder or whatever, now TypeScript is checking all of your types and it's going, can you actually run this function? Are these actually the right parameters? Are you doing the right thing? And that is just really nice. So TypeScript, Node, and V8 have made JavaScript become like real programming language, even though it's all kind of like, stitched together to be this crazy like thing. But yeah. Yeah, and that was made by Microsoft. Yeah, it's really nice.
Pretty mark.
All right, I actually put this up because I thought it'd be fun. Do you guys know what this one is? Some of these are literally named, so I'm curious if you guys actually know what the unnamed ones are, how many we could get. Angular, Bootstrap. This is just a CSS framework. Yeah. Still, Code Igniter I've not heard of, but I got to A, B, C, D, E, F, then I stopped. But that's Django. This one's a little tricky. .NET,
Yeah, it's like ASP or something.
.NET.
.NET, ASP Core is like the Microsoft C# framework for web stuff. This one, a little tricky. It's just not the whole word. Just Express.
Oh,
Yeah. Flask is Python, Django's Python.
Hmm.
This one's tricky, but it's very popular apparently. It's like 12% of that is like
Is it a PHP framework?
it is. It is a PHP.
Laravel?
It's Laravel, yeah.
Yeah.
Laravel. This one, kind of a giveaway if you ever do.
Netflix, or I mean, Netscape.
Nope.
Yep.
It's a React framework.
No,
It's what?
Next year.
It's Next, yeah.
next.
This one,
Rails, Ruby on Rails.
never used Ruby. I've programmed a tiny bit in Ruby. I've never tried Ruby on Rails, but
It's React.
everyone knows that one. This one? Huh?
No.
Wait, I've seen that one just today and I keep failing.
No.
Is it, is it,
I'll give you a hint.
is it, Swagger?
No, it's written in Java.
So it's wrong.
Leafy Pepsi.
Leafy Pepsi is
Totally Leafy Pepsi.
incorrect, actually. It's Spring Boot.
Spring Boot.
It's a Java framework for
Well, that's so.
this is spelled and this one
That's
is
for you.
Vue.js. This is just a tiny chunk of frameworks, but this was like the top 15 or whatever on the statistics website for web frameworks in 2023. But yeah, there's so many. I mean, there's frameworks coming out every day. But yeah. And these two are kind of the winners. These are the ones that have the biggest share of people using them. Angular and React. And Angular is Google's attempt at making a model view controller for the internet. And that's basically like you want to separate your concerns. You don't want so the problem with jQuery and what all these frameworks have been trying to solve is that you're directly manipulating the DOM. And so when you have all this state and all these variables and everything being set all over the place, especially in a big app, it's like it's untenable to try and like figure out where your data is at and like understand the state that it's in and like if a user interacts with it, what did it change to and like how does that affect the rest of my objects. So what frameworks ended up trying to do was you manipulate the data changes the view, and then it's like you separate all the concerns. So if a user does something, it see, I wish I knew Angular better, but all I know for sure is they did the model view controller pattern, which was a pattern to separate the model and view and have a controller in between the two.
This one currently, so you're looking at the view and you make a change.
Yeah.
Now you walk in, like, what happens?
Right.
The model gets updated, right?
Uh-huh.
How did the model get updated? Who did it? The controller did.
Yeah.
See, so that's the relationship. So you have
And
a
the
view that
yeah.
you're looking at. You make one small change. Controller say, aha, you changed something. I need to update, go ahead and update the model.
Right.
That's how it works.
Right. That's all sounding familiar.
Logical division.
Yes, I looked this all up and remembered it and then promptly forgot it right afterwards.
That's basically Angular in a nutshell.
I was going to really punish myself and learn Angular for this presentation, but I ran out of time. Plus, it was way more complicated than I expected it to be.
That's right.
Yeah,
I can back you up.
cool. And then React, which is what I use every day. React has a totally different paradigm, which it has something called the virtual DOM. So what you do is you manipulate a virtual DOM, which is like the representation of what the DOM should look like, and then everything gets updated at once. So it's just like, it's kind of like a flip book with like, you know, like those flip books that show you a comic. It's like you're constantly putting on the new virtual DOM, like over and over and over, and that's how React works. Yeah, I could show you some React. I got a little bit of time left. Okay. See if I can remember where I put all my things. I'm gonna pull stuff down my head. .com. Let's go. Maybe it's just you want to. Nope. Sad. Yes, it's Gunter. I'm trying to rebrand to this penguin because he's awesome. Oh, yeah, that's what I called it. What's that? FR_Giovanni.
But for real this time.
That is, but for real this time.
Not France. That's what French Giovanni's.
Okay, actually, this might be interesting. I'll show you how to set up a React app.
Gonna put the Wi-Fi on.
So this might actually be good to go through. So a normal directory of a normal website, and when I say normal, I mean like the bare bones you need to set up a website. You've got your HTML, you got your CSS, you got your JS. And then you can organize it however you want. Like, hopefully you organize it in a way that makes sense and people can understand. But there's no rhyme or reason that I did any of this. I just tried to keep it organized. Angular has very opinionated folder structure that you get right away when you download it. React has some opinions on folder structure, but you basically do whatever you want for the most part. But generally, the point I'm trying to make here is all you have is JS, HTML, and CSS. And when you download a very basic React app, there is so much stuff that you get out of the box. It's like insane. Yeah. Like it took me a while just to figure out what everything in the project even does. Okay, so this NPM, the node package manager, I'm creating a latest. Vite is a bundler. You don't really need to get into that too much, but
Yes. No, Control C.
oh,
Go
thank
back
you.
in here,
Yep.
not last test, yes.
Come on.
Still go for that escalation of root. I did.
Yeah.
You didn't run this root. Yeah.
You don't like to do this,
All right, fine. Latest. Nice. Okay, so I'm running through this install script. Yes, proceed. And then I was going to ask you a bunch of questions. Project name, payload, React. What kind of framework do you want? So Vite's a bundler, so it bundles whatever framework you decide to use. Vanilla is just nothing. Vue is Vue. You know, kind of went through some of these others. There's so many frameworks. You have no idea. The front end world is completely wild. Anyway, we're going to do React. TypeScript, and this is like a fast bundler. We're going to do JavaScript and JavaScript in this fast bundler. We're going to do TypeScript.
It's the SWC.
It's Rust written bundling thing, and I don't know anything else about it. Okay, so then it tells you how to set it up. You go into your folder and you install. So I'm in the folder right now. Right now, you're already seeing stuff that is like kind of weird. You've got a TypeScript config, which already comes with all this stuff. So this is like the TypeScript that you're compiling to, target ES 2020. It's setting up all these configuration things for you. There's the Vite config, which defines plugins for Vite, which you can add yourself. As you can see, there's already like TypeScript type checking because we've got like a TypeScript configuration going. We've got an index that's already built. We've got, so like you just do this Vite create Vite latest, you're already a web developer. We already made an app, pretty awesome. It comes with all these assets and stuff. This is all just from the install script. Angular has even more stuff out of the box. Anyway, they do npm install. So what npm install does, I don't know if I'm going way too in the weeds. Let me know if you guys are bored. But it looks through your package file, which is the way that npm decides what packages it should keep and what it should install. And it's installing these things that come out of the box with the create Vite command. So you do npm install, and it's going to do a bunch of stuff behind the scenes for you. Package.json tells you the packages to install, and then npm registry goes and finds those packages and puts them into something called node modules, which is a folder that holds all your packages for your website. I don't know how long it's going to take. Shouldn't take too long. It's not super heavy right off the bat. Yeah, 203 packages, and that is super light for a JavaScript project. Wow, like 203 packages is not many. The project I'm working on right now is like 3,000. Wow. Trying to get those numbers up too. Just kidding.
Right.
The
page takes a year to do.
But anyway, now what you could do is, it's actually not that heavy. It's like 350 kilobytes on first load, which is pretty good. And I do npm run dev, and now you just built a website. Boom. Very exciting. I've done it.
Zero, here is one.
It exposes a port on your computer and runs it. This is all stuff that comes out of the box. And yeah.
Right.
Do they use the Node.js HTTP server, or is it used like?
You know, I have no idea. I can look. Vite question mark? I'm not really sure what it's using behind the
I think
scenes.
it's under your dev. So I think under the script. you find
Yeah,
the-
this script.
Yeah, that should be in your project folder.
I have to like dig into it. I've never dug this deep. But Vite, I don't know, it's in here somewhere. One of these 203 packages will tell you how this is working. If anyone's brave enough to go digging. But yeah. So
That's.
oh, that was a very aggressive explanation of React. But React,
It works.
React is so you can I don't know how to explain this really, but
It's kind of macro.
basically when you set this count, what happens is the whole page gets re-rendered.
Oh,
That's what happens. This changes. React goes, you change something in this function, I'm going to change the entire web page. And it re-renders everything.
Alright.
And what React does is it takes advantage of the fact that you're running on a processor on everybody's local machine. It's kind of like offloading all the work onto your machine. I mean, that's because
so it's done locally, so it's not
It's
really transferring that whole page again through the internet.
exactly. That's like,
Yeah.
that's like the paradigm shift is from HTML getting given to you from the back end.
So it's
To-
not server rendered, it's locally rendered.
Everything's locally rendered on a single page app. Now they've gotten back to server rendering, and that's complicated and weird. But like the basic React app is, instead of giving you new HTML, it will give you this bundle of JS. And then when you make a change, it'll re-render the whole page. And actually,
Something well, it's working.
Well, it's a lot less transfer on this.
It's a lot less transfer. There's a lot more work on the user's processor.
Yeah.
I think it's cool though, and it solves the problem of a lot of mutable states in your app. It makes it so when you make a change, everything that's related to that change will get deleted and rendered. So you don't have to think like, okay, so I changed this variable. How does that affect the variable over here? How does this button chat count change affect it? It's like you change this, and then everything that is affected by it gets deleted and re-rendered. And that's
It has to go
how
through.
React works. And then
That's why. I call
when
it
you
React.
decide to make a website for someone for free that won't give you details so you can't finish it, that's not me. That's someone else probably. Ulanese Barber.com. Nice. I made this website in React. So when you click on stuff, it changes. And this isn't giving you new HTML. This isn't doing anything besides like when you click on something, it's gonna delete, re-render, delete, re-render.
Yeah.
And
Get a lower limit to.
But does it mean, it doesn't maintain your view angle on that page or the part of the page that you're in, it starts at the
it
top
should,
again?
it should. I mean, yeah, like see, I clicked on that and it changes. So I clicked on this.
Oh, I
Like,
see. Yeah, okay.
if I click on this and it like actually deletes DOM nodes, like
Mhm.
Justin only has one haircut,
Yeah,
it'll delete DOM nodes down to the end
I see.
and then
And then
re-render
that.
just
Yeah.
this one.
Mhm. So these are barbers or these patient or these
Yeah, some
people?
backstory. This is pretty local, actually. They're at Giovanni's Barbershop in uh, North Akron.
Oh,
They asked, they said, we really need a website. And I said, I'm learning React. I can make you a website. Like, oh, that'd be great. They made him a website. And then I'm like, I just need your guys' pictures and some descriptions and stuff.
yeah.
And they're just like, we'll get to it.
Go down with the camera.
But here, I'll do some free advertising for them. They're
Oh,
pretty,
yeah.
they're pretty
This
good.
guy calls that.
And I'll let you buy a web domain for them.
Yeah, I'm squatting on their web domain.
Yeah.
They can't buy Giovanni's Barbershop anymore.
Oh, can't they?
Well, I have it.
You have it now.
Bought them for free. We gave
I
them
got it
website.
before they did.
Yeah.
What happened to you pick on Jack?
Well, my domain literally just expired like 2 days ago,
Oh, no.
Oh,
so it's gonna hang. Well, I could make a new website.
let's say, thanks.
Well, was it your DNS? Is,
It was just jacktruffler.com. I had a little business card that
Oh, okay.
like grew, but no one ever visited it. So I just let
let
it
it
expire.
go.
If anyone wants to squat on jacktruffler.com, you may make like $10 in the future when I
Yeah.
decide to remake it.
Really into Jack Russell Terriers and.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
could have sold it.
Could have sold it.
Jack Russell.
No one messaged me though, the whole time I had it, so, which was like 2 years.
Well, we had Akron Digital Group, that was the precursor to this, to Akron Linux Group. And it was adg.org, you know, because there were hardly any domains. This is going back to the beginning of the internet. And I kept getting people, I want your domain name. I want adg.org, you know, because it's 3-letter .org is so rare, you know, because everyone sucked all those up. And I had that, you know, from the earliest days. And it was, I finally ended up selling it.
Dang, you could have made some.
I could have, but it's, huh?
I want to know how much Elon got X.com for.
Oh my God.
What, has he bought it yet?
I think he has it. I think if you go to X.com, it's just Twitter.
Yeah.
Free advertising for Elon right now.
I think you got it after they split because PayPal thought the name was terrible. You were like, here, take
Oh,
it. go
yeah.
away.
You could probably
Since you
see.
got your PayPal.
Yeah.
Well, X.com, what does it mean?
So, yeah,
It's nothing.
any questions on any of this? I blasted through React and definitely I feel like it was confusing, but.
Yeah, I don't think the letter Q gets enough.
How secure, security.
How security?
How easy it is to secure your site. And if there's a way to take an internal part of the website, make it even
Make
Um,
it evil?
How
In ter-
hackable is it?
In terms of my websites, I don't really think about security too much. I'm not really an expert in that domain at all. As far as I know, most of the security you're worried about is on the server because you're getting the HTML and the JS and CSS from the server. And it's getting given to you.
But you said some of this is designed to run on the process.
Okay, yeah. So basically you get the JavaScript file and it just sits there. It's waiting for you to enter commands. And then you press something and it changes something on the screen. Because the JavaScript files are all loaded, the JavaScript files loaded into memory. It's just sitting there.
Like they're loaded, it's a sandbox.
It is in the sandbox,
What is?
the web pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the browsers got sandbox then,
Okay.
but, yeah, it is just I mean, this is as close as it gets to a web page, like HTML entirely constructed from JavaScript. I think if you actually go to the project root, you can see all the HTML that's actually served to the client.
Yep.
That's it. So it basically kicks off the JavaScript and gives it one DOM and node, the div ID root. And that's where the application is then built. Inside of that div, the entire application is assembled by the JavaScript code. I think really your biggest concern is cross-site scripting right now.
Right.
A lot of it is because they're starting to put stuff in local storage. And a lot of this stuff is API driven. So instead of calling a CGI script on the page to get your results, this thing will call the API, get a token, refresh the token, leave it in the cookies. And so a lot of cross-site scripting attacks are literally just trying to grab the administrator's cookie and then boom, you're doing admin stuff on the API. Because all you need to host something like this is just an Apache server. There's no, CGI gateway, any of that stuff involved. It's just static file serving.
Nice.
That's the reason why I run no script.
Yeah. It makes the web impossible to use now.
Yeah, if you use NoScript, a lot of websites are just blank.
Yeah.
That's why I keep two browsers running. I'm like, no,
I mean, yeah, you're more secure for sure. But yeah,
Better than any antivirus.
yeah, true.
Yeah, so I got two comments on that. So continuing the most idea, basically, when the web was invented, like your first demo, like before, like the previous session,
Uh-huh.
where you just have the
Classic HTML.
Classic HTML. What was the norm was content was more respect. With the newer frameworks, because they're out of the box examples, don't give a shit about content. That's how you landed at, well, oh yeah, but you don't have any JavaScript, you don't have any,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
true.
now-
Functionality is like first.
Now, if I were to task you with, hey, this hello world example, right? I want to see this hello world example. But actually see the button increment and count with no JavaScript associated. Admittedly, it's like impossible because you click on it. Well, what the hell is it gonna do when you click on it?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to like resort to CSS and actually pay.
There's actually a new framework out
Right.
called HTMX.
Yeah, shape
Oh.
that's dealing with that situation right now.
Hmm.
But also the other, so that's the scripting that you pull out JavaScript, what happens? We all know what happens, you get like nothing.
Uh-huh.
It's a black, white, or black page or a white page. But the other thing is accessibility. So like, they're the out of the box samples don't honor that either, or care about accessibility either.
That's true and interesting.
So
Yeah.
when you're getting into web development, those things are unfortunately second class citizens, secondary concern, not primary.
Yeah. You have to dig really far if you
Yeah.
start from React like I did to get back to this. Just
Yes.
basic HTML.
Yeah.
Because this isn't taught first anymore, at least on like online courses.
Yeah, but basically, the main thesis is that content used to be the most important thing. That's why even today, if you were to go to Internet Archive, you can see like the old web pages, still be able to like see the content. Because it's very trivial for it to like load the file.
Mhm.
If it was a React app, Internet Archive wouldn't have been able to like go into the
Right.
maybe preceding, versions of the website.
Yeah.
And pull out the content. Getting to the content is like difficult.
Yeah. You have to literally like
Yeah.
Hayden told me that before. I think it's called ghost scripting or something. You like fake a browser, fake the JavaScript, turn it into HTML, pull the HTML out.
Yes.
That's like how they do. That's how they
Oh,
grab content. now.
That's how it's also sort of how they originally did things like for rendering web pages on Crackberries and stuff. Right, they would have an engine that was annoying. They would have to re-render it just for that. Maybe that.
Mm.
That was the 90s.
So I just want to make that point about like those two things, right? Like, okay, well, is it functioning in without scripting? You know, if it's a static site, I would argue like, why the hell not? If it's a web application, that's a different story. That's
Yeah,
like-
true.
Let's say, I mean, if you were to, you can, as my go-to example for on respecting all the concerns, winning all the ways is Gmail. So go to your web browser, turn off JavaScript and go to gmail.com. See what happens.
It's there.
It's still there and you can still actually do majority, like 80% of the functions on the site.
It's ugly.
So
Remember how to
so they set a very high bar. Google sets a very high bar for Gmail.
Can you turn off JavaScript in the
Because
console?
I think you can still use
No, no,
Google with
no.
IE6 too.
Can you do
No,
this?
Yeah,
Like it loads the.
yeah, like something like Google Drive, like I wouldn't expect, well, it's a
do you want
JavaScript application.
You can turn off like JavaScript in,
Yeah, you can turn it off right there.
where is it though?
It's actually,
I have
in
Chromium
the-
now.
in the triple dot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Came down, did install.
Yeah.
Go to settings. And then, I think in the search bar somewhere, you can type in
Settings.
JavaScript, I think.
Not too much here. Disable JavaScript.
Yeah, there you go.
Asterisk, let's see what it says. Current session only reloads the page. Ah, that's annoying.
Yeah, so it's already reloaded your page.
So Gmail.
So you already signed in there? No? Okay.
Pain. Suffering. But I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sync.
Can't sign in. But if I
Yeah.
was signed in, it would be cool.
What if you put?
Yeah, if you
Table,
were- yeah,
just rename the JavaScript
Yeah,
side
if you
in.
were-
Rename JavaScript, refresh the page.
Nah.
Yeah, basically sign into your session and then you'll basically be able to see what I mean. Thanks for demoing that, actually, that's since, yeah, don't say it,
I'll save it. It's my computer.
all right.
I'm not worried. I forgot to turn on two notifications, but surely we'll be fine here.
Yeah, I just did that. Google.
Yeah, but the accessibility comments I'm making, they pertain to people that don't see color, right? They don't see.
Yeah.
They cannot like, there's some issues, like, you know, the buttons are not like, they don't have all, or images, don't have all text, stuff like that. So now.
Yes, Yep. Click there.
Yeah,
Use-
right here.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, at the
Why-
bottom,
why'd that
of the
happen?
regular, of the regular interface of Gmail, at the bottom, they have like a standard, like selector for. The JavaScript, yeah, use basic. Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, it was there at the bottom, the white screen,
Oh, it was? I missed it.
yeah,
Alright, last try. This time it's gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna click the thing. I'm gonna full screen this.
yes.
Do you really want to use HTML
No.
Gmail? Are
I
you
like to use
sure about that?
Oh, yeah. Like,
How dare they do this to me with these colors?
I'd like to use
The
HTML.
cookies do this all the time too, where they're like, you want to accept all cookies or turn off the cookies, but we'll make the turn off cookies really.
Hard to find. Oh, yeah, I remember that page.
See,
Yeah,
that's what I mean, so the newer frameworks,
So you don't love it.
yeah, so you can actually see your email, you can reply to them, you can
yeah.
archive them, you can.
That's amazing.
I
Yes,
forgot
so
that
that's my
existed.
goal. That website.
Gmail interface.
Yeah, that's mine too.
Actually, way better than the new one.
Yeah, the new one actually hogs up too much memory.
Oh,
The side effect of this one is that you can actually keep it open all the time. It don't matter,
Ah,
because it's only showing you like 50 emails.
that's pretty neat.
And I love it because of that reason.
So
I feel
don't
like
smash
squirrel
it,
mail.
run off
Yes,
JavaScript.
wrong mails. There you go. So basically, if you're designing a web application in today's time, this is the rigor.
Is this all being running off JavaScript?
No, this
No,
is
This is
HTML.
no JavaScript. This is pure HTML,
Without the HTML, when you vary.
which is amazing that
So
they
because
pulled this
Oh,
off.
there, I know.
It's unbelievable, really.
I haven't seen that version of it for so
I
long.
really wonder how they do this. It's
Now, now,
incredible.
now inspect the source for it, like with the inspector, the little arrow.
Yeah, I wish I was on
No,
Chrome.
no, there's the arrow right there.
Where?
Next to the inspector.
Oh, you mean
No,
like
no,
this?
not the inspector.
Oh, like this,
Yeah,
this.
that guy. Now go to any of the.
Oh,
subjects. Yeah,
shows you the code up there.
yeah, so now click
Up
on
in
it,
that
and
front.
then on the right side, I will show them the TBL. See,
Yeah.
it's all plain old HTML.
Yeah,
See,
like
it's-
the old days.
Table, TD, CH, TR.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome that they did this.
Well, it's like how they're.
So I just leave, for anybody doing anything on the web, I leave this as a kind of like your inspiration, you know? Take this as your inspiration, design interfaces like this. Yeah.
Yeah, check this website out with that
Keep it
JavaScript.
functional.
That's gonna be just like. Whoops. Because
Unless developer thought about
Source disabled Java.
it. How we impressed with the.
it might be cached.
Oh,
So,
Go incognito in private.
yeah. So actually now I'm kind of curious what this looks like without it.
you know, it'd be interesting to maybe get a picture of Linus Triple up there.
I know, I'll put Linus on here.
Yeah, actually, get a picture of both of them duking it out.
It's not a good movie.
No.
I mean, come on,
Yeah,
not bad, right? Except you
No.
can't watch any videos.
Yeah, well, that's not bad. Yeah, still,
It's
still
usable.
have all the same information there. Yeah.
It's usable.
Because content was the primary thing you started, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
How do you address the trend going to code bill of material? That's being a big push,
I don't know what that is. Code bill of material.
where just like in engineering or anything like that, when you're gonna create something, you have to build material.
Oh, bill of materials.
Standard, SBOM, yeah, SBOM, it's called, software bill of materials.
Okay.
Oh,
What does that mean?
Yeah, what is it? What would be in, what's like, should I look it up? What's
If
anything?
you Google for SBOM, SBOM. Yeah, it will show up right there. Software bill of materials.
oh, simple S-bomb.
All right, this,
That's the vendor, yeah, they're gonna push their products to you. So basically, what
Libraries.
effort would take, would your software require the components that your software would actually need to. If you would invest that as a business, you would actually have to invest in. So. That picture right there is showing you like an example of library.
like figuring out every single library used for your project, basically.
Yeah, before you even be able to build it. Well, that's water. You basically, no, you basically figure these things out. Like as a software bill of materials, and then you actually use that for estimation purposes. To have a more concrete understanding of, okay, how long does that take? Because without that.
This is including like every library you download and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
basically ahead of time, you basically sit down.
What happens when there's like dependency trees you can't possibly be aware of?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's that the verbiage, you can see the verbiage there, So I don't know what Harvey's thought was, but I guess he's asking about the software bill of materials. In the context of web development, I don't know.
Yeah, it's trying to keep away from like open source stuff that like
Yeah.
GPL licenses maybe and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. This is what I'm talking about. Accept
I
cookies,
think if
nice button, cookie settings, bad button. And you have to,
The dependency sprawl got out of control. Because, yeah, we're already up to 250 dependencies. Just to put it on the screen.
but yeah,
Thank you.
lost half the room, but
I didn't like.
That's a very, very tough topic.
I know, oh, I guess, whatever. too complicated.
Okay.
Don't eat so much.
No, thank you, Jack. That was good.
All
All right.